Hey there, Kelly Rach here, your warrior dietitian, fighting with you and for you to break free of food, body, and weight obsession so you can experience a blooper, the promise of a full and abundant life. We're just gonna leave that right there. Y'all, I am trying to stage there we go. I'm just gonna have to hold it. There we go. Trying to do this in the outdoors for you. I can't do it live because I know I'm not going to have a good signal, so I'm just going to repost this after I get it done. So I'm literally holding a piece of rotten wood up against another piece of rotten wood to hold the camera still, because I just don't like the shaky video thing. Gives me a headache when I'm watching it, so I try not to do that to you all. But I want to talk to you a little bit today about how hiking can enhance your intuitive eating experience. And it kind of came up yesterday when we were on a family hike here in Virginia, and my oldest said, "What's the point of hiking?" And so we discussed all the different points of hiking. Some of the things that came up were to hear things, to see things, to feel things, to experience God's beauty in nature, to be with others, to get physical activity and get your blood flowing, and to enjoy feeling your body move. Well, today, it's now November 3rd, and I decided, you know what? I want to go experience some of those same things. Now, I did something a little different, and I was listening to a podcast while doing it, so it's going to play into our conversation here today. But as I'm walking, I'm just starting off on the road, and then eventually got on the trail and experiencing my body warm up and kind of getting the blood flowing. And along the way, I'm seeing different colors and just smiling at the change, because it's fall. It's, you know, the colors on the trees are changing. The sounds of nature are different. The way you can experience the outdoors is different. Now, I'll tell you, I was a little concerned about how my body was going to feel, because I was a little sore in my hips yesterday after our hike. And so I was being mindful to kind of touch base with my hips and my knee, and just to experience what the feedback they were giving me. And it went well, and I was very thankful for that. And along the way, I began to get hot, and I was wearing gloves, which I got rid of, and I also was wearing a scarf that I had to get rid of. And that's when I was kind of prompted to do a video for you to just remind you of how you can get connected with your hunger and fullness. And you can do that through hiking. So that's another point of hiking, is that it can actually help you heal your relationship with your food and with your body and with God. So on the food part of it, like, if you just don't know, like, man, I just never feel hungry, or I'm hungry all the time, or I always just eat until I'm stuffed. As I was walking, and this is not necessarily new information, we've used this a lot throughout intuitive eating and mindful eating courses, but bringing it to you again, I began to get hot, and so I took my gloves off, and very soon after that I had to take my sweater off. And that is one simple step in getting attuned to your body, just listening again to your body and what your body is telling you. I was also able to start to feel I was going downhill a little bit, and that's harder for me with my knee problems that I have. Going uphill is actually easier and better for me. And I could feel my legs start to shake a little bit. I could feel a little bit of strain in my foot from wearing hiking shoes yesterday that I hadn't worn in over a year. And that was exciting. Get this little thing out of here. There we go. And that was exciting for me to be able to just say, oh, like, I can feel these things in my body. Well, as I'm thinking about helping you all remember how to get in tune to your body, I tripped over a root. And so it's like, that's another thing to remember in this journey, is that right when you think you've got it, you know, something might pop up and make you stumble just a bit. And those can be the learning opportunities, right? So I just had to regroup my eyes, regroup my focus, and be a little bit more attentive to the space around me so that I could watch out for those roots popping up and not stumble on them again. So I laughed at myself. I laughed at the situation. I was like, thank you for the reminder to come back to present and to be fully present. And so if you have roots that are popping up, try to do that. Just like use them as a learning opportunity. And maybe it was something that was an alert to keep you focused from something harmful that might be approaching, right? So it's kind of like a red flag, ding, 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 you know, warning sign to reevaluate what's happening. And so as I'm continuing, I'm listening to a podcast. So for this particular hiking scenario, I wasn't as in tune to the nature around me. I could still hear some things, and I heard a train, I heard the cars going by, I could hear some birds once in a while. Well, on my way back, I was startled. Like I heard this thump, 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 and this deep voice, and I turned around and I jumped. And it was actually a gentleman that was running, and I think he was just alerting me that I was like in the middle of the path and he needed to get around. But I had my podcast such that I wasn't in tune enough to my surroundings that I didn't hear him approaching until he was almost like right behind me. So that was a note of safety to myself, right? Like how to keep yourself safe on the journey is you have to keep yourself alert to the things around you. You have to be aware and mindful of the situations around you so that you can more quickly respond to them. And so think about that with your intuitive eating journey, right? And as I was coming back, I just took a moment to pause and just kind of stand for a minute. And then I realized, woo, I wasn't experiencing this part of my body. I kind of had this sense of, just in my head, I started to kind of get a little bit of a headache that I didn't realize was actually there. And just kind of a sense of, yep, my body is giving me these signals that I'm done. But I was so focused on my steps and the podcast I was listening to that I was not hearing that part of my body. And so I want to encourage you to take some mindful pauses throughout the day and even ask God to show you, what am I missing? What do I need to hear right now that I'm not hearing because I've gotten in the way or because I've put things around me that block what I need to be hearing and seeing and feeling. And so ask God, ask the Holy Spirit in you to bring that to life so that you can get present and bring the care to that needs to be there, right? And so the other part is just, oh, it was the time. So I came out here, I gave myself about an hour to be able to do this because I do have to go prepare for our Sunday activities for church. And so I gave myself an hour, but I also gave myself permission that if an hour didn't feel good, that I could turn around sooner. And so think about that too when you're going out on a hike. Is it to count steps? Is it to count time? Is it to count mileage? Or is it to be present? And if it's about those external things, just be mindful if whether or not that's becoming a stronghold for you. You know, are you allowing that to be a place of judgment and condemnation and guilt and shame if you don't meet those goals, versus it being an opportunity for self-care, right? An opportunity to just be present and experience your body and experience what God has for you. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I'd love to hear in the comments how you enjoy getting active in the outdoors, particularly in the winter months, because that can be a little bit harder. What motivates you to do that? And I also would love to hear how this has impacted you in the regards of paying attention and being mindful to your surroundings and just taking a hike as an opportunity to get in tune with some of your physiological responses outside of hunger. Because right when I got hot, there was no judgment with that, like, oh my gosh, I'm hot, I shouldn't be hot, I just did whatever and I shouldn't be hot. But when we're hungry, we're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be hungry because I just ate an hour ago. And we start judging it and getting confused by it. I was not confused by the fact that I was hot, and there was no emotion to that. And the same should be for hunger and for fullness. And so let's get back to that place of neutrality. Let me know your thoughts. Many blessings, hugs, and love to you all. Hope you have a great day. Take care.